Hey there, it is Colin again from Thrive Themes. Today I have a special treat for everyone watching. So we have another Thrive Themes membership interview, but this is not an ordinary interview. This is actually going to be featuring someone we've had in the interview series before, Sa. Now, Sa is the founder of simplyinsurance.com, a wildly successful affiliate site in the insurance niche. Now today we have Sa back again, but not by himself. We have him with his business partner for another online business that Sa has called Creditnx.com. Now it's gonna be him and Chris in this interview. Now, if you may remember from the first one, and if you haven't seen that one, it's going to be linked down below this video. Sa talks about another site after Simply Insurance was already growing called Creditnx.com. He kind of mentioned it offhand, and I ended up talking with Sa more about that site and how wildly successful and how quickly that site grew. So that's what we're gonna talk about here today. Let me give you just a brief preview of what you can expect in this interview. So Sa and Chris have over a decade, yes, over a decade of online business experience combined, and have both built multiple six-figure online businesses themselves. So they know a lot about what they're talking about. They're incredibly qualified, but they're just like you. They're power users of our tools. They've been in the trenches. They don't have these giant teams. They're solopreneurs, and they know how to get results. So there's so much to learn, whether you want to learn affiliate marketing, SEO, how to overcome objections, how to get through rough points and sticking points in your business, and how to more effectively and better use the Thrive Themes tools. So this interview is awesome. I'm gonna get out of the way. Without further ado, here is Chris and Sa. Chris, Sa, how are you guys doing today?
What's going on, man? How's it
Well.
going? Doing good.
Good to be here.
Doing
Thank
well. Absolutely glad to have you guys here. So as everyone's watching this here, you're probably noticing you have seen Sa before, and that is because we did an interview with him recently that is on our YouTube channel and on our website. So to hear Sa's story and how we got here and why we're actually interviewing him again, just check the link below this video to learn more about Sa. But I want to start this interview off by actually talking with Chris first. So Chris, why don't you walk us through kind of how you went from 0 to 1, how you got your start and how you got to what we have today, Creditnx.com with Sa.
Okay, sure. So the story goes that I was a struggling insurance agent about 10 years ago. I was $40,000 in debt and had a 1-year-old. And I was just, nothing that I was doing in marketing was working. I tried referral competitions and telemarketing, door-to-door sales, referral groups like BNI, and I couldn't get a return on anything that I was doing. So I stumbled upon online marketing and found another insurance agent doing something similar to what I wanted to do, which was to generate insurance leads through a blog. So he put out kind of this this instructional guide and set up a website for me for $500 in, I think it was December of 2009, 10. So it was a little over 10 years ago. And I hit the ground running. I followed his guide to the T. I created my site, insuranceblogbychris.com, which showed you what I knew about business, like about branding, right? Like it's not a brandable name, right? But I was so green, like
Blog and Chris in the URL.
Yeah. But I did have insurance in there, so you know it had a keyword in there.
Exactly.
I was so green when I started this. When this insurance agent was talking about a blog, I thought a blog was like having a MySpace page. So that's how little I knew about websites when I got started. So he built me a WordPress site, and it was on the Thesis theme. It was very, very vanilla. I mean, there was no design to it. There was no header other than just the title of the blog. And I just wrote these horrible articles and they didn't really take off for, I'd say, about 6 months. You know, after about 6 months, I finally found my groove when I was asking him, hey, this isn't getting any traction. And he said, look, why don't you write about the last 10 clients that you helped? And so this is when I discovered the power of long tail keywords by mistake. So I wrote about a client that I had recently helped who had a heart valve replacement. And I titled it, getting life insurance for a client with a heart valve replacement. So the article, again, wasn't great. It was nothing special, but it was honest, and I really had helped this guy. And wouldn't you know it, that over the next, month or two, I got about 10 leads from my blog, people calling in with heart valve issues that needed life insurance, and I could help them. So that became a real revenue source for me early on. So I wasn't beating the doors down with traffic or getting, tons of traffic or leads, but it was very targeted because of the nature of what I had written. And that's when I started writing about all the health issues that I could think of that I'd help people with. And then it took off from there. And I started it started off as a way for me to get insurance leads. I had no envisioning of a future where it could turn into thousands and thousands of leads. But that's what ended up happening. Over the next 10 years, I grew it to where it got up to 70,000 visits per month. It was generating about 2,500 leads per month. I had a whole agency working on the leads, and it became
To be clear, so that was generating leads for local insurance clients. Okay, so this wasn't online affiliate model yet. This was just actual, still working as an insurance agent. This was how you generated your leads.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that was one of the things too that kind of separated me from a lot of the sites out there, is that I wasn't a freelance writer writing about life insurance who didn't really know much about it, and then just trying to get a click to over to some other company. I was actually an agent, and I knew a lot of insider info, so I think my content was pretty good, and so we got a lot of calls, and we drove a lot of inbound leads, kept an agency very busy, and it was a great income for me. I was able to finally sell that website in 2018. It was a big exit for me. So that was my initial diving into online marketing.
So you had that for, it seems 8-9 years, right?
Yeah, it took about 9-10 years that I owned it before I sold it.
Yeah, and so for all those times you spent that long, and how long did it take you to start getting traction? How long was it after you wrote those 10 or so posts about your clients you actually helped in real life?
Yeah.
What was that path like to getting that first, someone called you, you're like, really? You got it from the blog?
Yeah, I'd say first 6 months, there was not a ton of traffic. Once I wrote those 10 articles, months 6 to 10, it really started picking up for me. So, by the end of the first year, I knew that I was onto something, and I was starting to write until 1-2 in the morning. I was hooked.
Yep. You got a taste of that inbound lead coming in, and you were like, oh, this is over. And because you knew you had a skill that other people didn't, is like, being a marketer is one thing, but you know how to actually turn that into a high paying client in real life, not just this affiliate click model, which is a great model, but you were like, how can I actually apply this to my current career, my current business, which is being an insurance agent?
Yeah. And I would say, for any beginners out there, the other thing that I did was I took some major action. I told you about the insurance agent who helped me get started. I mean, this guy had a big forum of insurance agents, of a couple thousand agents in America. And he made this offer to everyone. And he said only 10 people took him up on this offer to build a website for him for $500. And then later on, he told me, and out of those 10, you were the only one who did anything with it. So you have to work at it and stick to it, obviously.
Yeah, it's very similar to like a course sales. Thousands of people will buy any course online. Well, everyone says the course model doesn't work, or the course, what they're teaching doesn't work. It's like, well, only 1% of the people actually did it. Like they actually followed through all the steps, did all the work. And it's like, oh, that 1% got the results. And you are in the exact same situation in your insurance business.
Yeah. That was sort of my first online course, even though it was a PDF. Right. He sold me a website and a PDF, which was like that was my guide. Yeah.
Exactly. Cool. So that was in 2018, you had that exit. So you were solely focused on that from 2000, let's call it 2010 until 2018. That was your sole focus, right? Or were you starting to get into other online business stuff as that was going on?
I started to squirrel quite a bit for several years throughout all of that. On the way, I helped build another agency. I built a couple other websites. So, but for the most part, yeah, that was my primary focus, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. And then in 2018, you had an exit. So for everyone watching who maybe not understand the term, he sold that website to someone else, a group, a company, details don't matter, but he exited, left that business, and was on to bigger and brighter things. So that is where Saw enters the picture. So we all know Saw from simplyinsurance.com. Saw has a extensive background in insurance, just like Chris, which is probably, I can't be for certain, but probably how they connected and clicked when they first met was they were both actually insurance agents who built real online businesses, which was probably not the norm for people in that niche. Maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't seem like it is. And that was where you, or maybe how you guys met. So now, Saw and Chris, maybe you could speak on this. How did your guys' relationship start?
So it started from Brian Dean's group, SEO That Works. And it's funny because before I got into the group, I sent Brian Dean an email and I was like, hey, will this course work for me? I'm trying to do it. I'm in the insurance field, X, Y, and Z. And his response was like, it's too competitive. I wouldn't do it. However, there is a guy in my group that's killing it. So I was like, that's in the same space. So I was like, okay, cool. So he didn't tell me who it was. So I signed up for the course. And after just looking at people's responses, the only person I was seeing like for insurance responses or talking about insurance was Chris. And I was like, oh, this must be the guy he was talking about. So I would, I just like hit the ground running and I would be posting a lot of stuff in the group, asking a lot of questions, showing like how, like I was getting a Hero like response like every 3 days, like getting into, getting backlinks from Hero and stuff like that. So I was like, just really doing it. He was like, hey, I see you out there doing it. We should definitely link up. So I think we had a phone call. That's kind of how we met.
Yeah. And I'll just add to that. The cool thing was here, like you said, Colin, it's not normal for agents to have websites. If they do, it's usually a pretty vanilla, boring website.
Yeah.
But when I met Saw, he was already using Thrive, and he was in my same field, and we had Brian in common. And I saw his site. I'm like, dude, this guy's legit. This guy's building some really nice stuff with Thrive. Like we have a lot in common. So yeah, we were competitors. But, we put that aside and we basically helped each other for a couple of years as friends.
What year was this? In 2017, end of 16,
Like
17, I think?
Yeah, it was like 4 or 3. Oh, but yeah, about almost 4 years ago. Yeah.
That's cool. And one thing I want to kind of pivot from there as you guys started talking about Thrive is, Saw, we know your experience with other tools, which is zero. It's all Thrive. Chris, I want you to just kind of briefly touch on what your experience was like with Insurance Blog by Chris and your other projects with using other tools before you found Thrive.
Right. Okay. So starting with a blog and knowing nothing, the first tool that I can remember learning about was lead pages. And that I learned that I was a big fan of Pat Flynn's Smart Passive Income podcast. And anything that I learned about, like AppSumo with Noah on there, I learned from Pat's podcast. So everything that I tried out was basically from there. So I had a little familiarity with AppSumo and lead pages. And I can't remember where I eventually discovered Thrive. I think it was in some post of me saying, hey, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to save money on design, or,
you want to do this yourself. You want to have pages that can do this, blog posts that look like this, and
I can't remember.
Thrive.
I just know the second that I saw it, I'm like, I don't care how much this costs. I'm buying this.
I need this right now. And fortunately, it wasn't expensive. So one thing I want to kind of pivot to, and this can open up a lot for us here, this is kind of leading us right into it, is now you guys have Creditnx.com together. So just to quickly kind of just recap, make sure everyone's listening or watching this on the same page. Chris had his own site. He had his own business, insuranceblogbychris.com. Still exists today, but he is not the owner anymore. Then we have simplyinsurance.com. And the whole story, it's linked down below. And now you guys have Creditnx.com together. And that's going to be the next and the main focus moving forward here in the rest of this interview. And I really want to start off by asking, obviously Creditnx.com is on Thrive, but how specifically has the Thrive membership and the Thrive toolkit helped Creditnx.com grow and get where it is today, which we will get into later?
I would start out by saying that one thing we knew, we had a meeting. I flew out to California to meet Chris and Mark, and in the meeting, the first thing we knew was that we could get the site up fast. All we needed is Thrive. Like that was the first thing we all agreed on. Like there was no talk about having designers. There was no talk about any of that. It was like
Hosting and Thrive, we're good.
yeah, it was like hosting and Thrive were good, and this
Yeah.
is before Thrive Theme Builder came out, but we put it on the Focus blog thing. And that's what, me and Chris, we both knew Thrive Architect, well before it was even called Thrive Architect. And so we knew that. We knew going in, we could get the site up super fast. So, and only with Thrive were we able to do that. Like that's something that we all knew and we all agreed on in the beginning. So I would say getting the site up fast and starting to get traffic from the blog posts, I would say was, for me, one of the best things about using Thrive for Creditnx.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. Not just that we could get it up fast, but that we could get something up there that looks passable. I mean, we're now almost 2 years into this, and we still have essentially the same designs that we created with Thrive. We've never hired a designer to build any page on our site. And Sa and I are no designers at all. But
Didn't think so.
Not at all.
But it's passable. We look at other sites and we say, oh, that looks good. Let's try to build something similar to that, but with our colors.
Mm-hmm.
That's about the extent of our design knowledge. And you can build just about anything with Thrive. So it's great.
I wanted to quickly just jump in here and mention a couple of things, and we're going to get right back to the interview. So the first thing I want to mention here is they were able to, Chris and Sa together, they run everything on the Creditnx site. Everything you've seen is them two using Thrive Themes tools, whether it's Architect, Quiz Builder, Leads, Theme Builder, you name it, they're using our tools. And their site looks incredible. Their site looks awesome. They've built a lot of things from the ground up, but this is all just through practice. As Chris was saying, Thrive is one of the most incredible tools they've ever used to build their websites, pages, grow their email list, you name it. And they got this good at it, and they got this skilled at using our tools just through practice. They don't hire designers. They don't outsource anything. It's just them managing the pages, posts, home pages, you name it, it's them. So I just wanted to interject and give you some reassurance that once you use the tools for a little bit, you can really see some incredible results no matter the kind of website, page, or anything you're trying to build. Second thing here is obviously they're using almost all of our tools. So I'm gonna say again, it's gonna be the call to action in this video. Get the membership. If you don't have the membership yet, you've got to check it out. It's the ultimate online business building toolkit. So click the button down below this video or just go to thrivethemes.com/membership. So that's all I have to say for now. Let's get back to the interview. So next, I want to ask you here, Chris, if you could go over some specifics of Creditnx.com and how you use Thrive Themes and how you use our toolkit to help the Creditnx website.
Okay, yeah, sure. I've got some pages ready for you. If you'd like me to just share my screen, I could.
Yeah, go for it.
So Sa and I, and my brother, who's our other partner, none of us has design experience. So one of the things that I loved is how simple it is to create some really simple elements in Thrive. So this is an example. I want to just show you a few elements that any beginner could create that we built literally in 5 minutes each. I mean, less than 5 minutes. So this is a pretty standard looking call to action on our pages. So this is just a couple of dividing lines, some text, our logo, and a button. And that's it. And we've got a call to action. We use these to break up the text so it's not so monotonous, and obviously to generate clicks, right, and leads. The next one that I would show you is just a simple like call out, just something, again, to break up the text. I mean, this is just a content box with a blue background. And then you've got an image in one column and you've got some text in another column. I could build this in a minute, and again, I don't think that our site's going to win any design awards, right? But what we said is we were trying to just build something that we knew how to work on it without having to pay for a programmer or a designer to get in there. So if we want to change this, we can change it. If we want to delete it completely, we can do that. So we just love that about Thrive. And I'll just show you one more. Here's another CTA box where it's just a column, two columns, an image, some text, and just a border, right? So it's really, really simple to do this type of thing. And, all of these work for us. So why mess with something that works? So these are examples of some simple elements, but then we can really get into more advanced things. Saw and I have been users of Thrive now for a few years, probably. So we can do stuff that maybe looks a little bit better than this. So like Saw built most of this page here, where we've got a nice landing page here with links to different chapters. So this is something that 5 years ago, before we were Thrive users, we would have had to pay someone to do. Instead, we can do it ourselves for free, and it's just with this cheap or inexpensive, I should say, tool. Another example is on this page here. This is a big content box, and there's really nothing complicated about it other than we changed the background colors here, but it's just two columns, some text, and some icons. It's really not a big deal, but you can create some, I think, nice looking stuff, if with just a few Thrive tutorials. So those are some of the elements that we've been able to create. And then what I'm really excited about is some of the segmentation that we've been able to achieve. So one of the examples is on our Increase Your Credit Score page. We've used the quiz builder here in the column. So when someone wants to increase their credit, and we've got some different tools for them to choose, if they're not really sure, then we've got this Let Us Match You tool. So they can click here, they can answer a few questions, and then we guide them to the best tool or resource. So this is just a great way to, the way that different people are going to increase their credit depends on their history, and so the advice is going to change a little bit depending on your situation. If you click on Get Custom Help, then you answer a few questions. So how quickly do you need? You answer a few questions. How many lines of credit do you have? And what describes your payment history? Okay, so we'll just say excellent.
Yep, and all that took place right in that sidebar there. So it wasn't a new link. It was all right on the page, so the user didn't have to leave, and they can get everything sent right to their email.
So when they submit their email, it's great. We found the perfect credit improvement match for you, and they can click here to see their results. So we've got multiple different results here based on how they answered the quiz.
That's an awesome use case. And that allows you to get build your mailing list, which is key. And B, it also helps users and readers genuinely get the right content they need, because the credit market can be just a whirlwind of misinformation, or just you're reading what's not relevant for you. And that helps people actually get where they are, understanding what they need for their current credit score. So it's not just a marketing thing. It's actually helping the customer get exactly what they need and what they need to read.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And another thing is we just recently upgraded to the Thrive Theme Builder theme. Mm-hmm. We've always used Thrive Architect, but we were on a different theme to start with. And some additional customization that we've been able to use is, like, if you look at the sidebar on this is a credit score page, and so we have calls to action related to credit score, whereas we've got some other types of verticals on the site, such as tax debt relief. So we've changed the sidebar completely for this entire category, where they see a call to action for a tax debt relief company. The other thing, so you can update the sidebar really easily. The other thing is the header. You can actually change it based on what category they're in, which is just such a great user experience, because if you were looking into if you had tax debt, you're not necessarily concerned about your credit score, right? So we wouldn't want to put our credit offers up here at the top. So this is all tax related. And if you compared that to our header for credit scores, it's all credit score and credit repair related.
One thing I want to jump in there and add is that when a site is really big and it encompasses, like, Creditnx is not just credit only, it covers lots of other topics in personal finance, personal tax and different things like that, where somebody, like you said, someone who's interested in taxes, it has a bigger problem at hand than credit repair. So you want to make sure they get the right thing at the right time. So they stay on your site, they get what they need. And that also leads to them clicking on different offers and growing your business. So it's a win-win for everybody involved. And that's a huge feature within Theme Builder, where you can literally we have tons of videos if anyone's watching wants to do that. It's such an easy thing to do within Theme Builder, to have different templates appear on different pages, whether it's your homepage, about page, different category pages, you name it. It's so easy to do.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Anything you want to add, Saad,
I'm
to
so
these?
impressed by it. Like, I can't believe that we built this without paying anybody. I can't believe we did this with our little Thrive tool. But this tool should cost thousands of dollars, literally. So it's amazing. It's amazing what we've been able to do with Thrive.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I think that one of the things that Chris pointed out is segmentation. I think segmenting the site, as well as being able to collect that email and add it to the email list, it just changes the whole dynamic of the second phase of the site, because some sites don't necessarily generate revenue through their email list, and that's perfectly fine. But, to have the opportunity to do both through affiliate income and through generating an email list, something that Chris has actually always been really good at, writing the emails and building the list. So Thrive is great for that.
Yeah, one thing I want to mention for people that are wondering, well, it seems like this blog has really grown, and why don't they hire people to help them, or with Thrive, or have other people kind of build the posts and pages? Well, it's so much faster for you guys to do it yourself, because the tool so well at this point. It's actually a designer would just get in the way, where you guys know the tools. You can make changes rapidly and actually get results, versus having to go back and forth pixel after pixel with some freelance designer you had to hire. You're in total control.
Definitely. And like I talked about in the last video is, we have a content uploader for Creditnx. And once you create the template, you create that template one time, you can have someone upload the content into that template. So it speeds things up as well, but it also puts it on us to where we can make a really nice template and know that, hey, we can create new content for this template and it still will go up fast. And if we need to make changes to the template with Thrive Themes now, one change to the template changes it all for, that whole template set. So it makes things move faster. It makes things much easier. And then it's easy to give that specific thing to someone else, because you might not be in a position to want to hire someone or have the money to hire someone, but you can still create great templates that you can constantly keep using, or you can hire somebody to upload the content for you. I mean, it's just the best of both worlds with Thrive Theme Builder.
Exactly.
This sounds like a giant commercial for Thrive, but we really are this. really are this thrilled with Thrive. We're not trying to sell anybody, but we are, because everybody needs this.
Yeah. If you have a site, you need this 100%. Like, there's no reason not to have it.
With that, we'll move on to the next topic. So what I wanted to ask next is related to Creditnx, and not just the website, but the business itself. So you guys met about 2 years ago, and probably shortly after, or you guys met a few years ago online, but then you officially started the business relationship about 2 years ago. Is that correct?
Yeah.
From that point on, what was the initial starting point of Creditnx? Because I know that Simply Insurance had this awesome story of it took about 9 months for anything to happen. And then once something happened, it was like, boom, you figured it out. Walk us through the humble beginnings of Creditnx, because I know this has a very different story than Simply Insurance. So walk us through that.
I would say for both of us, this being our second or third or fourth site, because we've had some other experience now, this was a radically different experience. I mean, what we did this time around was we already knew how to build a site, and we already knew how to write good content, how to make it look good. So the first thing we did is, Saw mentioned, he flew out to California and met with me and my brother. And we talked about, well, what is the problem that we're solving with credit? Saw has had some credit issues in his history. Who hasn't? My brother's had some credit issues. They both felt very passionately about the problem of, bad credit in America. It's like 1/3 of all Americans have bad credit or no credit. And so we really honed in on who we were helping. And then from there, we built the brand around it and discussed, possible names and what the brand would look like. And so we came upon Creditnx kind of as a word play with Opportunity Knox and being able to open the door to better credit. So it started, I think, as a branding play and really focusing on the audience.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know that's right. I didn't know the name had a play on it, but now that makes sense.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that was a big thing for us to make sure we knew who we were going to be writing for, right? Like it's kind of hard to generate a blog if you don't know what or who you're writing for. Like that's super important. Like if you haven't figured that out, you shouldn't do anything. Go figure that out first, because you'll just be spinning your wheels and wasting your time. So when we first got together, our thing was create a content plan, get a better understanding of what it is that we're going to write. And like Chris said, we had the experience. So it was more like we knew going into it, we need to build links. We need to create really good content. We need to get our name out there, and, fortunately me and Chris were also part of another group that had all of the, people, the journalists, what Brian Dean calls link creators, had all the people in there for us to actually reach out to and start being able to, do guest posts and kind of build a site to generate traffic. So we hit the ground running on that, like really, really fast. And we knew how to do it and we knew the space. So it was much faster this time. I would say Creditnx grew way faster than Simply Insurance. And I don't know, Chris, I don't know how much more faster Creditnx grew than Insurance Blog by Chris.
Like 1,000% faster.
It took almost no time for us to start generating revenue from the site. We're still kind of shocked about it. I would say, what would you say, Chris? What would you say? How long it took for us to get our first sale with Creditnx, our first commission?
Probably within a couple of months. But the crazy thing that happened was we were able to, just have double and triple digit gains every month in revenue and traffic, where we grew it. I mean, after about 16 months, we were already at about 40,000 visits, which is insane to me. I mean, it took me 8 years of clawing and bleeding and scrapping for, on my insurance blog for that. And we've already surpassed that. It's amazing.
Yeah. The one thing I want to point out is not just the growth in traffic, but you guys are really focused on the two important metrics. Well, one's not a metric. One is, who are you trying to serve? That's part one. Who are you actually trying to serve? What problem are you actually trying to solve? And then part two is, instead of worrying about traffic numbers, because Saw's Simply Insurance business is the best example. He's like, traffic is great, but I only want the traffic I know I can rank for and I know will actually lead to affiliate commissions in his model. Your Creditnx is extremely similar, but Saw's is Simply Insurance there's no email list. It's just search, click, search, click. So it has to be incredibly targeted and focused on revenue driving posts and revenue driving activities. Creditnx is an exact same thing as that, where you guys focus on what's going to grow the revenue, what's going to bring in more commissions, not how do we get to 200,000 visits. That's great. But now if you focus on that metric, you're like, okay, that is going to turn into $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 of revenue if you can get up to that level of, monthly traffic. So let's fast forward. So you had first few months were very strong, kind of out of the gate. It was okay, we got this. Then within 16 months, it was really going. Where is Creditnx today as far as traffic, revenue, and where do you project it going over the next, let's say 12 to 24 months from now?
Yeah, I mean, it's maintained really strong. We had hit a peak, I think, when everyone was home for COVID. We were recording this in 2020. So we've come down a little bit from there, but we expect to be back over 40,000 visits, I would say, the next couple of months. And
question on that. Did you hit a peak? Because I'm just curious, as far as people might be wondering as well, what was your post, or what was your category, not post, your categories that kind of saw a spike during the peak of COVID in America, the lockdown at least?
Well, look, a lot of people were needing money and looking at personal loans. So there was a lot of search for that.
Got it.
People were worried about their credit and losing their jobs. So we were just trying to provide, timely information on all of that. And so it brought in a lot of traffic that was kind of one-time traffic, but we're more averaging, I say 30,000. I'm not sure what it is actually. So we've come down a little bit from there, and we're back on our way up now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And so 30, and I can't remember if you already said it, but then it's kind of like Sal's example of 30,000, but the revenue is higher than the traffic, which is always the dream scenario to be in at least in a competitive niche. And something that I always want to point out is like, a lot of people that are getting started off, they see these affiliate marketers, or they see these online marketers generating all this traffic, hundreds of thousands, millions of visitors, where you guys are just focused on this small traffic in certain niches can equal tens and tens of thousands of dollars a month without getting hundreds of thousands of dollars a visitor. So is that exactly how Creditnx is playing out?
Yeah, I say that it definitely is. I mean, our traffic, it's like the space. Like if you are in the right space, like because some of the verticals that we have on the site, they don't pay out a lot at all. But when you do everything, like you have multiple verticals on one site, you can really push the ones that are higher paying, and also grow the ones that are lower paying, but as in increasing that volume is where you're saying that $200,000 to $300,000 a month in revenue could come from, increasing the volume of the small amounts. But the things that have the bigger payout, they're going to be a few things. One, they're going to be harder to rank for.
Yep, naturally, right?
Yeah. And two, if you rank for them, they will pay you really good once you start getting that, once you start getting the revenue from it. So that's kind of was our focus with Creditnx, was to educate, but also educate people with tools that they could use to build and help their credit. And it was something that, hey, it's outside of us at Creditnx. The best way to build your credit score is to go get a store card, like a fingerhead card. And once you get that fingerhead card, if you get it, we get paid an affiliate commission. But if you get it, you also get the ability to start helping and building and grow your credit. So I think it was a fair trade, because me telling you about something you didn't know about, and then you saying, hey, I'll sign up for it. We get a commission, everybody's happy. So I think that's kind of like what our model was. So it's all about finding those right people. And it didn't, like you said, it doesn't always have to be a big amount of people, but finding those small amount of people and, pushing them into the right direction, which Chris is really, really good with, by the way. He's good at naming stuff and he's good at pushing people in the right direction on the site, the segmentation.
That's good. Yeah. Anything you want to add to that, Chris?
No.
I did see one thing where maybe I'm mistaken, but I opted into your email sequence, and was it something about the chief credit knocker or something like that, or is that you?
we try to have fun.
I like that.
What am I, knocker in chief? I'm not sure.
Knocker in chief. That's good. Hey, it's a boring topic though. I mean, it's not no one wants to talk about taxes, credit, or any of this stuff. And so keeping it lighthearted and fun is all part of the brand. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. One thing I would, I thought about it. One thing I would add to what Saw said is that, if you have different verticals, they're all going to pay something different, right? But that's one of the great reasons to have an email list, because once you're on your email list, you can share with them anything that you've got, right? So that's one of the things that we've been pushing hard.
That's good. Yeah. So the next thing I want to ask is related to kind of another business question. Is we started to get there, but Chris, what do you see for your vision? Let's flash forward 2 years from now. where do you see Creditnx going?
So when we started, we identified as what we would consider like the villain in the market is some of these big free credit score companies that we feel like they could do so much good in America with providing, some real credit education. And we feel like they're more interested in just monetizing their leads. So here, give us your email and we're gonna give you your credit score. Well, all they really want is your email and some information about you so they can sell you consolidation loans and credit cards. And we decided early on that, yeah, we can make more money on that stuff, and that's not going to be our focus. We decided that we're going to really help. And so what we'd like to do, we're still in stage one of just providing the step-by-steps instructions on building credit, and then we're in some other verticals. But stage two is to potentially be one of those companies that gives free credit scores, but be the good guy in the market and really try to help people and not just pitch the highest paying thing, but the thing that's the highest helping.
And that is a massive long-term move. So people watching, that's long-term thinking at its finest, where you're not just trying to, because you could easily sell out short, find these high-paying affiliate programs, and you could crank that revenue up to using your email list, the right promotions. But that doesn't mean it's going to be the best thing for 2, 3, 4, 5+ years of building a loyal fan base that trusts Creditnx for credit advice, for tax advice, for their own financial advice that they need to build a better life. And you guys made that decision. You're both on the same page because you're both nodding not everyone can see this, but you guys are both nodding. And that's a good sign. So that's a really awesome path where it's not just about the monetization, and everyone in the Thrive audience understands that. We have a lot of solopreneurs that want to monetize their passion, but they're not trying to be greedy. They don't want to be, the richest guy in the world. They want to make a living doing what they love, helping people with their skill, their craft, their mission. And you guys definitely can fall in line with that as well. You guys have had successes, obviously. And we talked about this, where, insurance wasn't your favorite thing in the world to write about for months on end. That wasn't the best way to spend your day, but it ended up paying off, tenfold, not just financially, but all the doors it opened, the other opportunities and everything like that. So that's really a lot of Thrive customers. You guys are watching this can definitely relate to that story. Okay, next, Chris, I want you to start us off here by telling us a specific obstacle that you've had to overcome in growing Creditnx, and it could even be from just your marketing and building, online business history.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think, Sa and I have had a lot of experience in SEO. But one of the challenges anytime that you're building a new website is getting backlinks. And you can have amazing content, but you've got to get those backlinks, right? So the way that we've learned to do things and we really agree on is you have to lead with a really good piece of content. It's hard enough to get a link to a really good piece of content. It's even harder to get a link to something that's subpar, right? So we've been really happy being able to use Thrive to create things like our free credit score page that we showed earlier, where it's kind of eye-catching and nice. In another occasion, we ran a survey, a nationwide survey, and we compiled the results into a nicely designed Thrive page, and we provided some nice statistics. So it's easy to get, it's easier to get links to those types of pages. So I'd say, being creative on creating some really plus epic content is probably the biggest challenge anytime that we build a site. So we've been really happy with being able to create those using Thrive, and we've gotten a lot of links that way, and it just helps the authority of the entire site and trustworthiness in Google's eyes, we hope.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's been around for forever and ever and ever, but it's still always the number one, one of the number one ranking factors, and also it's still the hardest thing to get naturally. It actually only gets harder. It doesn't get easier getting links. It's a skill set to get. That's why there's agencies that teach it and do it, because it's that challenging to get real quality links to rank your pages and posts.
Yeah. And, Sa mentioned, we've got a community, a financial community that we're pretty tight with. So a lot of us scratch each other's backs. We try to share each other's content, maybe throw some backlinks to each other. And that can really help too. So I would definitely recommend, and Sa and I did the same thing in insurance, right? So I'd recommend don't look at your competitors so much as competitors, but look at them as friends. Maybe you guys can help each other, inspire each other, link to each other, right? And if you really believe in what you're doing, you're not competitors. If you believe that insurance or better credit or whatever it is that you're selling is making the world a better place, and you all need to do a better job of making your sites better and delivering that to your visitors. So, just enroll those people into your dream and passion, and be friends, and hit it hard together.
Yeah, and linking to another site is not like, putting if you own a local business, it's not like putting a sign of your competitors in your window. It's not what it's putting a link on your website is not like that. It's much more, people don't even notice it. So it helps in a big way when you do that. You can build allies with other sites in your niche, a friend and ally. And that's one way to look at it for people watching is that it can be beneficial. It's not going to hurt you. Trust us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So next time I want to kick it off to you, Sa, and give us an obstacle that you've overcame and it's related here to Creditnx.
Sure. The hardest obstacle with Creditnx has been like dealing with affiliates, especially, and this might be really hard depending on the industry that you're in, especially if it's a highly regulated industry. And credit is definitely one of those industries. So getting access to some of the affiliates is really hard. And starting off, you have to start with like credit cards that probably no one's ever heard of, right? Like Super Freedom Select Plus credit card, right? And you're like, nobody's ever heard of this, but they make it kind of hard. So when you're dealing with a hard affiliate or you're trying to get a program, you can't get access to it. One thing I recommend is don't sit around saying, well, if I don't have the product, I shouldn't create content for it. If you believe in the product and you create the content for it, the affiliates will come. You will get that affiliate. If you sit down with them and say, hey, I have, this content brings 10,000 visitors a month or 5,000 or even 300, depending on the value of those clients, they're going to give you the affiliate program. You just got to call them and talk to them. But I would say that's probably one of the hardest things I've had to deal with Creditnx is I guess how hard it is for to get the affiliates. But that's better too, guys, because if it's hard to get the affiliates, that means that everybody's gonna run into the same issue, and the only people that are gonna get it are gonna be the ones that stick with it. The guys that say, "Oh, it's too hard, I'm not gonna do it," it's plenty of those out there, and you don't have to be one of them. That's what I would say.
Yeah, exactly. And especially in, this applies to many other industries that a lot of people kind of just, go for the bottom feeding Amazon associates, or this is common. I see like in health and fitness, or they try to go for these low tier programs versus taking the extra step, reaching out to the companies individually, actually working out a deal with them because you're sending them traffic, you're sending them customers, and you are. You have all the leverage. Anyone whether you're an affiliate blog or you just have blog posts where you're driving traffic to other offers or products, that is so key to actually circumvent that normal process of applying through their affiliate link program. Get a hold of someone. They have an affiliate manager. We have one at Thrive. I bet they have one too. Get in touch with them, start the relationship, and take it to the next steps. And that can be huge. And there's a lot of non-Americans. So there's a 1,000,001 American credit card companies that exist, which doesn't exist in a lot of other parts of the world. But to all the Americans watching, that's how America works. There's credit cards for days. So. So that's a good tip there. Cool. Next thing I want to kind of ask here, and I know we actually kind of touched on it earlier, but Chris, I want you to just start off by giving advice to someone who maybe they've started a business or they've started kind of a website and maybe had some hiccups and failed. What would be the number one piece of advice that you would give to someone kind of in the early stages? Because you've gone through the ringer now. I mean, it's been a decade in the making, and you've had plenty of ups and downs. So you probably had some repeatable mistakes and some things you wish you would have known 10 years ago. What would be that one piece of advice you could give to someone watching?
Again, embrace the long tail. You got to write about very specific problems. So I'd give you the same advice that my friend gave me. Write about the last 10 people that you helped. And I would say, to just think big. One of my favorite Tim Ferriss quotes is, actually, he was on a podcast with Pat Flynn. He was like, Pat, life's so full of people that are just comfortable hitting for singles that sometimes it's easier to go for the home run. So in other words, it's like, there was nothing special about me when I started my insurance site, because I was an idiot with all this stuff. The only thing different was that I did it and I went hard and I went for the home run. So I say swing hard. You can do it, and don't give up, because it does take sometimes months, sometimes years. So swing hard, don't give up.
Couldn't be said any better. Sa, what about you? What's something that a lesson you really learned that, you wish someone told you, or something you did that was just game changer for you to a beginner that would be in the same place now?
I would go back to a few things that Chris said, which is about education and finding a community. Those were really big parts for me that really helped me be successful at a much faster pace. So no matter what you do, whatever you go into, educate yourself. And then if you go into an industry, find somewhere, a community of people that are doing already what you're trying to accomplish. And there's so many out there. It's conferences, it's things you wouldn't believe that are out there that you might say, oh, there's a place where people go just to look at pecans. Yes, there is a place where people gather just to go look at pecans. You probably don't believe it, but it's out there, And so I would say do that. Those things will allow you to, do something that's important, which is to something that both me and Chris were, that we were an authority in the field that we were in. Right. So that's something I think becoming an authority is super important. And if you start with the idea of becoming an authority early on, then it'll make growing your site much easier, because people will say, oh, this person's the authority on X, Y, and Z. And they'll want to go to your small blog and, give you links. So that's what I would recommend. That's what I would say.
Nice.
And there you have it. This was an incredible interview. I had a ton of fun interviewing Chris and Sa. Got to hear Sa's story again, how they met, the big takeaways, the lessons, the pitfalls, and honestly just got to know them a little bit better. So I hope this was super, super valuable for everybody watching to really understand what it's like. Understand that just because they built a six-figure, multiple six-figure, and will most likely be a seven-figure business for these two, that they're not that far away from you. These guys had so many struggles along the way, but they've really helped narrow down in the interview what you should focus on, how you can actually get results, and how to not focus on the shiny objects, how to not get bogged down in the tech stack and the complications, and really just focus on what matters. So again, I really want to thank everyone for watching here and getting all the way to the end of the interview. And as always, leave a comment down below. I want to hear your thoughts. Sa and Chris are going to be in the comments. They're going to be answering and talking with you guys with any questions you have at all related to the interview. So if you are new here and you don't have the membership, you just saw how effective it can be. Chris and Sa have both built multiple six-figure businesses because of the Thrive Themes tools. They even said it to me before, jokingly, that this was not made to be a Thrive Themes pitch, but it ended up being something similar. So if you don't have the membership, make sure to go to thrivethemes.com/membership and get your copy today. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next interview.